Hello, this is Steve Cramer, UNCG Business Librarian with an introduction to my expanded guide to demographic and psychographic data sets. This summer, 2023, we got some new data sets for psychographics, so it became a little more complicated for me to both list and describe what we offer in those for that kind of data. So I made this short video to explain the changes I made to my research guides and give you a few suggestions to get started too. First off, let me show you that I'm going to work off of this page, and this is the URL for that. Pause the video if you need to, and if you want to type this in. Otherwise, I'm going to switch back to my web browser and use that from here on out. Right, and this is the page. And notice now I have a demographics page and a psychographics page. If by chance you found this video on a more simplified markets page like this page, which I use for Marketing 320, but it's on other pages too, you'll see on the left side a links to demographics and psychographics, which goes back to that first page that I just talked about. So we're going to talk about these a little bit today. Right. So demographics, census data on people, age, race, income, geography, etc. And being census-based data, I have census links on this page. And for example, there is these narrative profiles, which I recommend using. They're pretty easy to use. And for example, here is a profile for Sacramento, California. And you can see the core topics here from the census data, households and language and income, educational attainment, etc. It's all here. A nice, convenient kind of one-stop shop to get data. On the other hand, also on this page for demographics, there's a link to the census demographic subject links page, which gives you a full sense of all the different topics covered, like educational attainment, for example. And I can open this up and quickly get it to a much more detailed set of data, or table really, on this topic, including the option to limit it to geos, to geography. I can limit it to North Carolina or Guilford County or Greensboro, whatever. So that is the full data set of the census data, and therefore there's links on this page for that. However, our demographic data, our Simply Analytics and Stage Data databases also have demographic data. And so I have them listed here as well. And just another example of Simply Analytics. Here is a quickly custom demographic overview, Seattle and Sacramento. I can download this as a spreadsheet. You can see all the different topics here, or maps. So here's income data by neighborhood, block groups in Seattle. So all the census data is in this database too, as well as the other one I mentioned, Sage data, as well as the census, and you can choose which ones are best for you, or ask me if you need help for that. You may notice that the core data sets for the census is now coming from something called ACS, the American Community Survey. They don't use the 2020 decennial census anymore for only for very basic data. The detailed data comes from the ACS. If you want to learn more about that, there's links on the left side here, introductions to that data set. They do that annually. It's not every 10 years, it's annual data now, surveys. And also note on this page, options to get projections up to 2026 from a woods and pool data set inside Sage data. And international data we have available through you through the Euromontor product as well. That's quickly demographics. And now psychographics. So this is data on behavior, lifestyles, attitudes, spending data. This is commercial, proprietary, expensive data produced and sold by market research publishers like Simmons and Nielsen and Easy, for example. So you don't find this stuff for free. I use this list, among other library pages I have, to get free access as UNCG students to these things we pay for and for your behalf. There's a lot here. Again, please use me as a resource. Notice on all these pages on the right side, underneath my pictures, email link, a chat box, scheduling tool, other options to let me help you out. I have a list down below of all the data sets that we have for psychographic data and what databases they come from, which largely is Sage data, Simply Analytics, Mental, Euromontor, eMarketer, for example. But above that, probably more usefully to you, most people, is a list of subjects, and it tells you what data sets are covering those subjects. So for example, you need digital behavior, online behavior. There are some choices here, eMarketer, for example, that's listed over here in the middle. Or maybe you want to use Claritas Connections, which is inside Sage data, and there's a link for Sage data there. So use this list as an option, and it may help you figure out exactly where you want to go. And finally, at the bottom corner, you also have detailed guides to these data sets if you really want to dig deep and see exactly what they're doing. So just for example, let me point this out. These first two links, Simply Analytics and Sage Data, cover thousands of psychographic variables. And you can do it down to a local level: city, zip code, county, block group, census tracts, states, and the United States as a whole. And just for a sample, Simply Analytics again, I'm going to change my topic. And so let's look at, for example, in Seattle, where do people live the most, or what are the most popular neighborhoods for reading science fiction and fantasy books? Here we go, psychographic data available from this. Or I want to see a number of persons who read different genres, whether it's a book or an ebook, for every genre that we track. So here's a bunch of data on different types of books people like to read in those cities too. So examples of psychographic data in these two products. On the other hand, whereas Simply Analytics and Sage are many thousands of variables and local plus national data, we have report databases like Mintel, eMarketer, eMonitor that only do national level data, but still can be really useful. So for example, Mintel, just briefly, Mintel link, there we go. New report outdoor cooking with different chapters. For example, consumer chapter, subtopic, purchase drivers for cooking equipment. And you can see here, combination of both commentary, analysis, paragraphs, and data in the form of charts, graphs, tables, different formats. So it's a much more limited to the topics, and you can't localize the data. It's only national data here in Mintel, for example, but also useful. So you should be aware that that exists as well. Your monitor does international if you need international data too. Okay, so finally, if you just don't know where to get started and this topics doesn't help you out, here's something else you can do. Simply get into the database and keyword search your topic. I need yoga data. I want to start a yoga shop. So type in yoga. I'm going to fine tune this a little bit. And now I have data from a data set called Simmons Local about how often people do yoga. Or in the other products, Sage Data, for example, I want to do some kind of product involving backpacking products, or maybe just services for backpackers. Let's make sure I can spell it right. Type in backpacking, get a bunch of hits. Might take a little bit of time to kind of see what you need here. But for example, how much money or how many people like to do backpacking as a travel activity? So here we go, domestic travel. On your vacation or honeymoon, do you backpack or not? So we can, and this is national data at first, but I could easily add cities, states, counties to this as well. So that's an example of just keyword searching for a topic that you need, as opposed to spending some time looking at these topics here. You've seen I have videos on these pages for each of these products, much more detailed about Simply Analytics, about Mintel. I'm going to make a new one about Sage Data later this week. Monitor, etc. And finally, again, please let me know if I can support you as you work on your project. And good luck and thank you.